Why don't you show me around the city?
Fucking terrorists!
What?
Terrorists! There's been a big scare and you can't go across the bridges so good.
Prior to the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto series had a very weird way when it came to exploration and expanding on the game's maps. While each one of these games felt alive and still uniquely lived in, the players were constrained to one specific island, with each one of these maps consisting of anywhere from 2 to 4. And it wasn't until hitting certain milestones within that game's story that the next island was then accessible and allowed for that player to roam around and explore it. With Grand Theft Auto 5 and even Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar decided to allow player exploration to be much more natural. While progressing throughout the story will slowly, in its own way, unveil certain areas of the map to the player, there was no longer any physical restrictions stopping the player from going from one end of the map to the other. Of course, with the exception of Red Dead Redemption 2, early hours of the game playing as Arthur, you can't go into West Elizabeth due to being ruthlessly hunted down, but I digress. The world was divided into islands, whereas both Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5 were one large landmass without any physical constraints on the player. Nothing is stopping you from being allowed to go from one end of the map to the other. Truthfully, whether if they decide to reincorporate islands or go one large massive landmass again, as long as the world itself is interesting and alive in its own way, either of these two game layouts really wouldn't be a problem. The issue would come up, I think, if they were to take that step back and tie that map progression, what is and isn't accessible to the player, tied to story progression. Unless they went a little bit more lighthearted with it, where maybe it's a specific area or areas and not the entire map, where you gotta periodically unlock one island or the next, almost as if they were to use one island as just a tutorial system, and once that tutorial is done, the entire map is completely opened. Sure, I could see that, but even then, the game logic I think would be a little too heavy for the immersion to really thrive. But let me know what you guys think. Would you guys prefer that island approach, one large massive landmass, or if they were to go the island route, do you think they should go the route where everything is locked and you slowly have to unlock it to kind of capture a little bit of that nostalgia from those old Grand Theft Auto games?